He's done 5,900 in sales this year, 100% books, 86% books, 11% CDs and DVDs, and then 1% everything else. So welcome to the podcast, Drew and Carter. And you guys are Amazon Savages now.
Welcome to the Amazon Savages podcast. Hear the stories of Amazon sellers crushing it in the game and keep up with the latest strategies that are working. Sit back, relax, and remember, if you truly try and work really hard, you will make a ridiculous amount of money selling on Amazon.
So we do have a little bit of a lag today in the Wi-Fi connection. So I'm going to ask you questions and allow you to answer. So the first question is, how did you get to 5,900 in sales? Like, what allowed you to get to those sales selling books on Amazon?
So we really started on thrifting. So we'd go to the Salvation Army. In fact, Carter was the first one to buy the first book for us. We were at a thrift store. And then we thought that was going to be the end all be all. We were just going to thrift forever. And then through networking, we hit some big, large hauls. I just recently did a large haul of about between 4,000, 5,000 books. Got 1,000 books out of that. We did about 300 DVDs. So, and we bought that all for $150. So that's probably our largest haul. That is definitely our largest haul, but we've also partnered with a couple other people, businesses. We do a little consignment. So yeah, it's just been kind of a collection. We've really been following your methods of doing ads on Nextdoor, Facebook, and just kind of pulling in leads that way. So we've actually, I don't think I've done, and we do a lot of library sales too.
Nice.
So we've mapped out every library in San Diego, when their sales are. We have them on Google calendars. And so we're on top of that, but we're kind of sitting pretty with the large haul that we just did.
Nice. And do you have like an items listed per week goal right now or anything like that?
No. Originally I was doing about at least 50 scans per day. Just trying to start and kind of get an understanding of all the tools with Scout IQ and things like that. So then really we didn't really have goals on listing or anything. It just as it came. If it was profitable, we would do it. We kind of inched up our profitability and our triggers. So what we were doing was originally like just barely making it by, a little profit here, kind of trying to get that 20% profit. But San Diego's big. We're not the only bookseller in the area. So a lot of the thrift stores have been gone through quite a bit. So we have been working on partnerships, and then we upped our profitability in our triggers. So we really only accept anything that also one of the things too is that we do FBM. So we don't do FBA. In fact, I just liquidated our FBA stuff. It was at the 180 days. So when we first started, we sent in things, and then realizing that we were kind of getting eaten up with their pick and pack. So realizing that it was cheaper for me to just go ahead and pack something and print off a label, and average cost for shipping is $3.96. So we decided to go that route and strictly do FBM.
Mm-hmm. And how much do you have at FBA right now?
0. So I just liquidated everything, finished up a liquidation yesterday.
What does your FBM setup look like? Like, how are you organizing everything? Can you walk us through that?
Sure. So basically when I first started, if I have a big haul, I kind of have a conveyor belt system where all of the books coming in sit in one spot. I got 3 bins from the UPS store, USPS store, and they, as I scan them, they are either under profit and I primarily will use, if I already have books here, we'll use GoToLister to determine the profit on them, and then they'll either go in a bin of acceptable, denied, or trash. And from there, the denied goes to I do kind of give back to the Salvation Army and stuff like that, as I don't source there, and somebody else may find those books that are just starting useful for them. And that's kind of, then we have a set of probably 8 shelves right now that we just put them on in alphabetical order. And as sales come in, we go find them real quick and pack them.
Heck yeah. How was Cyber Monday for you?
You know, Black Friday was a little bit better than Cyber Monday, but there were still sales. And for me, any day that a sale comes through is a good day. Cardinal acknowledged that when I don't have a sale in a day, which is kind of rare anymore, that I get pretty aggravated. I get kind of depressed.
You gotta list more books, man. Pretty soon, like if you have, if your inventory gets to a certain size, you'll have consistent sales every day. Like usually, what happens with booksellers is,
I think that's where we're at right now.
Yeah, it just becomes predictable. Like if you have 10,000 books in stock, you should be selling about 2,000 per month. So it's 2,000 divided by 30. That's how many you should be selling every single day. So that's what happens over time. What are your long-term goals with the Amazon business? Where do you see this going?
So yeah, I think we're sure. So right now we're doing a lot of books. We're moving more into OA in this next year. We'll still do RA. For us, it's kind of fun to go through stores. She likes to shop in general, so I will go and scan things. She'll typically find me in a toy aisle somewhere, or any brand that we are ungated in, like Puma or Adidas. I'll be scanning the apparel there. And so the RA portion of it's still fun. We're ungated in grocery, so we do go to Costco. For us, that's not a huge win, but there's a lot of different ethnicity stores around as well. So that can be kind of a competitive advantage in the grocery game. And so we definitely want to keep RA because it's kind of a seek and find, and move more into our OA. We have a lot of tools and things set up for OA. And the first OA that we did was dismal, and it was definitely a learning curve for us. But I think I'm a little bit more well aware of how to do things, how to set expectations, look at profit, using SellerAmp, using Keepa, and really doing a lot of finds. I went ahead and built a custom search engine that has over 2,000 storefronts in it, so I can do manual sourcing. And it's kind of it's a little bit more nerdy fun for me, whereas the RA is a little bit more couple fun for us. And then eventually we'll get into
a search. What do you mean by a search engine?
And then for us, yeah, so we just use Google. Google has the capability to do a custom search engine, and you put in different storefronts like Nike.com, Walmart, eBay, even. And basically, you can take the title of a Amazon listing and do a search in a regular search bar, and it just looks at those stores for that item. You can also use it if you are looking for general sale. You just put in, 50% off sale, BOLO, anything like that, and it'll come up with all of the websites that have that same term. So like a Target or Walgreens or whatever might have a 50% off or some sale going on.
Mm-hmm. Nice. What do you know how much you're spending on other categories? Do you have like a spend goal each month?
We don't really have a spend goal right now. We will right now. We're in the midst of getting an apartment, so all of our spend goal is to that apartment. So we're kind of in a little bit of a limbo right now. If we do find something that we must have and can sell, um, she's kind of my voice of reason when it comes to that, because I'll get really excited and want to spend now, and she's like, "Hey, we have bills to pay and an
Yeah.
apartment we're getting and a car payment and stuff like that." So, um, yeah, eventually we'll get a little bit more structured in that. Right now, I also do Uber,
Hmm.
kind of, kind of like you. I don't want a real job anymore. I got laid off in November, and that was the point that I was just like, I don't want a 9 to 5 anymore. I think I've hit the peak of my career in my industry. I, I don't really want to go back. It was good money, but this is kind of a long term play.
Yeah, dude, books are the way, man. Books are dirt cheap. They basically you can get them for free, and the ROI on them is fucking insane. So like you can build a lot of capital with books, whereas like with these other categories, they're great for selling fast, especially this time of year. But books, man, like you can build a lot of money just like if you focus on that.
Yeah, I that's why we're in books, and I think moving forward, we'll keep a 25% portfolio of books, and then everything else will be OA and RA, and then eventually we'll move into the wholesale game.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, wholesale's amazing too. That's actually my primary business right now.
So
Is
niche wise, um we want to get. Yeah, I'm a little bit jealous of that because I understand there's steppings, that you kind of got to go through the books to get to the RA, to get to the OA, to get to the wholesale and then private label. And between you and Corey and some of the other wholesalers out there, I've learned from, and eventually I'll use that knowledge. Um, but for right now, we're just in the book game hardcore.
Yeah, dude. If you put effort in the book game, I'm telling you, like, there's so much money to be had. Like, people quit the book game because it's a lot of work, but it's the most amount of money you can make for the least amount of investment. And that's what's so exciting about it. And there's a lot of booksellers out there that are hush hush on social media and they're doing millions a year and they just don't want people to know about them because they have a limited source. Maybe they're in Detroit and they're getting all their books from Salvation Army and they just don't want to post on Instagram about it because somebody could go to their Salvation Army, start buying their pallets, and then they're screwed. So there's a stigma with book selling that it's just like the beginner way to get started, which it is. It is a great way to get started, but there's a lot of money in this book business. Like at Miami Sellers Conference this year, we're having Vishal speak, and he does 600,000 per month in book sales out of Canada. So, and you don't see him post on social media about it because there's not a whole lot of reward to post about your book sales on social media if you don't have a brand like I do. Like I have restrictedinventory.com. So I like to talk about it.
Grind hard, well done, sir.
So, but a lot of people don't have that instead of them, and that's fine. It's just different ways of going about it. Do you have a personal brand at all? I see you on Facebook. Do you have a YouTube or Instagram dedicated to reselling?
So we do have a business brand, but we don't really have a personal, like a PL product or anything like that. We'll get there. That's
Do you have any
another
interest in making like
source that
a
we're going to
personal
start
brand
doing.
page for
Right
reselling?
now, not really. I'm not that. I don't think so. Not at this point in time. Maybe soon. I think that we would like to move into the educational space a little bit more and teach people, kind of like you do. But we don't have a Discord or anything like that. I'm part of a lot of Discords. In fact, I'm part of your Discord as well. But right now, I think we're just kind of learning the game as it is on our own.
Yeah. Dude, I would recommend starting like a small Instagram or just start an Instagram page and post, your shipments, do stuff like that, post like your hauls, like how much, just little updates and network with a few people, and you would be flabbergasted by the opportunity that will arise just from putting yourself out there. Like that's literally how I've gotten all the opportunity in my life the last 5 years was posting like a ridiculous amount of content on social media, and it's come back to me like tenfold in ways that I never imagined. So I would just post like once or twice a week and see what comes from it. You might get a bolo for RA, you might get somebody might hit you up with an ASIN for online arbitrage, or maybe a book deal, or maybe just are friends with somebody that you share so much knowledge with that you guys both grow your business. But I mean, I see you interacting a lot on Facebook already, so I think you would really enjoy it.
We do have an Instagram, but it's more for kind of mindless scrolling. We have a couple posts up there, but that is probably an area that we will get into. In fact, Carter just mentioned building a YouTube page, so that's something we'll get into as well.
Yeah, Instagram's like the easiest to get started because all you got to do is post a picture, write a caption, post in your story. YouTube takes a little bit more thought, but also it's honestly pretty easy. Just turn the camera on, post the video. But yeah, man, I would definitely consider it because you definitely have the proclivity for like engaging with people online already. So why not take that to the next level?
Yeah, it's definitely something that's in our roadmap for our business. We're just kind of baby stepping it through right now and learning the game, and I think one of at least my biggest things is to be excellent at what you're doing currently,
Yep.
and then move forward. Kind of,
Yeah.
a step
Yeah,
process.
definitely. Have you seen those Uber drivers that record their Uber rides and they make YouTube channels out of it?
I have. To me, that's kind of an invasion of privacy. If that's
Yeah, for sure. For
security,
sure.
that's one thing, but post it
It,
online
it
and
just
things
goes
like
to
that,
show.
like
It just
that's
goes to show you can make content about fucking anything. And so, like, and content is
yeah.
exponentially scalable. Like the cool thing about content, a lot of people don't like talk about this in the Amazon space. Like, okay, you can only find so many books and list them on Amazon. And the more books you list, the more negative you go temporarily because you have to pay inbound shipping. You have to, pay the fees, blah, blah, blah. So like, and you have to pay for the books probably too. So like, if you're going to scale your book business, like let's just say I gave you 1,000,000 books today. Well, that would be great for you, but you'd have to pay a lot of money to get those 1,000,000 books to Amazon. And so like it's great, but it's also a lot of work. Whereas with content, it's exponentially scalable. You can put out a bunch of pictures of you with boxes. You can update, make a video. Hey, I did this, and keep posting that. And like, it doesn't matter if it gets 10 views, 100 views, 10,000, or 1,000,000 views. It's the same amount of work for you, but you're getting more eyeballs and therefore more opportunity and more networking. And so like content has like a really special aspect to it in that it is exponentially scalable, whereas any inventory-based Amazon business is limited because there's physical work involved and there's physical inventory involved. So like incorporating into your life and business this exponentially scalable component can open up a lot of doors, and that's why I'm so passionate about content.
Yeah, I spent 12 years, a little over 12 years in digital marketing space.
Yep.
My primary was SEO, but I started off in social media. And
Yep.
so content has always been a big thing. And it's kind of funny because I'm not huge into content. Like I never did the writing for any of the ads and stuff like that. I'd kind of outsource that. I'd be maybe the idea man and then have the content be written by somebody with better English than me.
Have you do you work out at all? Like lift weights?
Nope.
Okay. Well,
Nope.
I'm pretty into lifting, and there's this YouTuber that came out. His name's Sam Sulek, and he'll literally just take his camera, put it in the car, turn it on, and just talk about his lift. He'll get out of the car, go in the gym, and he'll put the camera up in the gym, and he'll talk as he's lifting, and then he'll take the camera, put it back in his car, and he'll talk on the way home. And each video gets hundreds of thousands of views, and he just talks. And that's all he does. And it's like, it's so inspiring for me because I'm thinking like, oh, I need this cool music for the intro. I need to do this, that, everything. And like, he literally just like, he's getting hundreds of thousands of views, going to fucking Planet Fitness, working out. And it just goes to show like you can make content about anything.
And that's the thing too. Like you, I'm a lot more the technical. Like everything has to be perfect. You know, like everything has to be staged. You know, lighting has to be correct. I went to school for web design development, and visual communication technology was the main name of the degree. And so I took videography. And for me, like I put so much effort into like a single 5-minute video that it was like I spent 3 hours for a 5-minute video. And it was like, so I think that was kind of like, I think I kind of have PTSD from that. So that's why I'm shy of the camera.
Yeah, I've heard that perfection is the lowest standard that exists. So if you have perfection as your standard and you don't do shit, that's the lowest fucking standard you could have. So just get it, just do fucking something. I'm not saying you should post content, but when it comes to anything, whether it's selling on Amazon, like if you're going to be like, oh, I need to have the perfect supplement or inventory or fast selling book and you don't list anything, then like you're not doing shit. So your perfection standard is to the fucking ground, you know? So that's what I tell myself, at least, like just get out there and do it.
Yeah. I fully agree. And then also I try to keep in mind that everything is an experiment.
Yeah.
So even this business is an experiment. Who knows where it's going to go, if it's going to succeed. I'm going to put everything I have into it. We are putting every dime that we possibly can into it. But at the end of the day, it's an experiment and it's fun. It's an experience.
What's a secret you've learned that's helped you grow your Amazon business?
I think the biggest secret for us really is just networking. I think that's been our secret to success. Everybody talks about it. I know Miles is huge into networking, and basically everybody that's in his courses is almost forced to network. And I think that that's huge. You just had a podcast recently where the individual said that, you know, network is your net worth. And that's 100% true. I wouldn't have come across this lead for books had I not posted an answer to their question in an eBay thing. So, and we're constantly meeting new people. We both are people movers in our own way. And so she's a bus driver. I'm doing Uber. And so we get to interact with a lot of people. And that has led a couple of good leads for me in doing Uber. And also people get interested when you talk about that you have a Amazon business, because everybody thinks that it's hard, or that it's easy, or that you're going to get rich fast. And so I think those are definitely myths that need to be broken. And unless you do it, you don't know. I think everybody that has started watched the TikToks and watched the Instagrams that said you're going to get rich in 30 days and drive that Lambo. And that's just not true. And so maybe that's the biggest secret, is breaking those myths.
Yeah. What's your biggest failure selling on Amazon, and what did you learn from that experience?
I think the biggest failure was, one, it's getting excited about things and not doing the research necessary. Our first OA was on soap, and it was I found this killer listing, and the soap was super cheap, and it was from Walmart and Target, and I was like, I bought like 24 units, had them delivered, everything, sold them, actually FBA'd them, just to find out that I don't know if the listing changed because I wasn't the only one that noticed, but it was not a single unit, but a 6-pack. Funny enough that they all sold through, and I got my ass off that listing as quick as possible so it didn't come back to bite me.
Yeah.
I think that was probably my biggest failure, and that's not doing the research. So whenever, even in store doing RA, in fact, I got really excited about a toy yesterday, and luckily she was next to me, and she's like, "Are we really going to make that profit?" And I forgot about shipping. I was like, "Oh," and then so that profit just went down dramatically. So I think the biggest mistakes are not doing due diligence, getting excited, and especially with doing OA, you have that time. You don't have to make a split decision. Um, yeah, there's more competition, but let them make that mistake and kind of just sit. I'm lucky that I have the space to do FBM, so I can sit on something and let other people tank it and then come back at the same price I was at. I might not make as quick sales, but I'll make the money.
Yeah. What's your software stack look like? What software are you using?
So I use GoToLister, I use Keepa, I use Sellerboard, some small stuff I've built. So those I play around with the AI. It's in between Be Cool and Channel Max. I just did a trial with Channel Max.
Nice.
Right now, I actually took I took the repricer off because I realized that I had set some prices that were just killing me. So I'm going back and auditing all my prices. I think one of the biggest things that somebody should do when they start is have a backup, have a spreadsheet of all your items. I've come across multiple. So Google Sheets is definitely a huge thing for me. It always is, even the simplest of things. But I've come across some listings that I know that I listed and aren't on my Amazon account anymore. So I can't imagine the number of people that don't have a backup of any sort, and how many listings they just are sitting on. They're sitting on the item but don't have a listing for it, and don't even know. So I definitely audit quite often.
What do you mean by that? Like you have the item but it's not listed? You mean like it's like in your house somewhere? Like and you didn't list it on Amazon? What do you mean by that?
So it somehow fell off Amazon. Like I know I listed it through GoToLister, but for some reason either it was a price issue
You are
along the
about
way
to,
that I
you're
missed.
literally talking about this new
whatever.
feature we're about to release. So we're about to have inventory management within GoToLister. So you'll be able to see every item you've ever listed ever. And then it's going to pull from Amazon's API and tell you how many you have in stock. And so let's say you listed 30 with GoToLister, but Amazon says you only have 20 and you didn't sell 10. So what happened to those 10? GoToLister is going to let you know, hey, you should probably open a case, or the carrier either lost your item or Amazon lost your item. So inventory management is coming soon. That's why I was like asking about that. So yeah, I think spreadsheets are great, but pretty soon, in the next week, it was supposed to be done last week. We're going to have inventory management within GoToLister, which will tell you every time you've listed a product. Then it'll tell you, according to Amazon, how many do you have listed and compare it to what you said you listed. So that's coming soon.
Yeah, I actually really appreciate the amount of work that you and Dom have done to GoToLister. It's In fact, it's the only listing software I've used. I did a trial with your favorite competitor, and I just didn't really like it. I did my first FBAs with it, and it just, for me, I didn't like it. Yours is simple yet extremely effective. And I know that in the past, like, I know that I had asked for whenever you export listings, your batch, the titles be included, and Dom jumped right on that and had it in the next iteration. I mean, within an hour or so.
Mm-hmm.
So not only are you guys really building the roadmap to improve your product, but you're quick to make changes and at request, which is, I don't know of another software that's like that.
Yeah, I would tell you, Dom is a savage. I just found out that he was a high school dropout, and he's self-taught coding. And he is an entrepreneur to his fucking core. And he's an Amazon seller.
Mm-hmm.
So he's extremely dangerous because he understands exactly what we want, and he's able to code really well, super smart, and he's like a fuck the system type of guy. So it's like, I got so lucky that I partnered with him, and it kind of just happened. Dude, it happened from posting on social media. Like, I posted on social media. He reached out to me. He had a software called UPC Scout. He got nobody to sign up for it because he sucks at marketing. He built a great product, but sucked at marketing, so nobody signed up. And we just started talking, and then I got fucked hard by the Indians. I had Indians build the first version of GoToList. I paid $40,000, which was a ton of money for me at the time. Basically, all my extra capital I put into this software, and then it failed. And so I had to fire the Indians, and then I partnered with Dom, and I've just been so lucky that it's really actually so much luck is involved with that. But it was all due to social media. Like, I wouldn't have met Dom if I didn't post on social media. He knew about me from my personal brand. He reached out to me about his software at the time, and then now we're partnered on this software. So that's just an example of how putting yourself out there on social media can, come back tenfold in ways that you would never even expect. A lot of people think, like, oh, post on social media, then make a course, and then, sell the course, and that's how you're gonna make money. It's like, that's one way to do it. But oftentimes, at least in my experience and my close friends' experience, like, the best reward you get from social media is like something you never would have expected. Like, me and my buddy, we're selling product right now. We're making a ton of profit from it. And the only reason why we know about this product is because we're the host of Miami Sellers Conference, and somebody shared it with us. And so now we know the product because they came to our conference, they shared a product with us. And so it's like, you can't like methodically plan that. It just happens, and that's why I think posting on social media and networking is so important.
Yeah, actually, well, even this podcast right now, had I not entered your group and hit you up personally on a couple of things. In fact, I was telling Carter one day, like, one of these days I'm going to be on Romer's podcast, and then the next week you hit me up. So even just putting that out in the ether as a want. I think that has huge power, putting that out in ether, kind of making your wishes and dreams solidified out there in the world, that it'll come true. You've solidified it in your head, you dreamed it in your head, and it's so extremely powerful.
That is so true.
And there's definitely half a chance in a lot of cases. But, yeah. So we actually always talk about, you put it in the ether, so either good or bad will come from that. So
what do you mean by ether? I never really hear that term. I think I know what you're saying, but can you kind of explain that for the people?
So it's a term that I heard a long time ago, and it's basically just putting it out in the universe.
Yeah.
Ether's the kind of the invisible space that makes things happen, the force.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's so true. Like, Taylor Jones, one of my best friends, he used to go to Walmarts to find product for retail arbitrage. That's how he started his business. And he was like, if I go into Walmart with the mentality I'm going to find something, he finds something. But if he goes in with the poopy pants mentality of, oh, there's nothing on the shelf, he literally isn't going to see the profitable product because he's not looking, you know? And so I think there's a few different mentalities when it comes to life and getting shit done, but there's certainly the truth that you will miss opportunity in front of you because you won't recognize it as opportunity if you don't have the right state of mind. So you literally are blind to opportunity if you're not looking for it. Now, on the flip side, sometimes you just need to put the fucking reps in. If you only scan 100 books and you didn't find any books, go scan 1,000, go scan 10,000. Like, just put the reps in. And regardless of how you feel and what your opinion is on opportunity, the opportunity will come if you put the work in. But on the flip side, if you don't even look for the opportunity in the first place, like, you could be at a store scanning books and somebody could be like, oh my gosh, I have like a whole private collection of books. And if you're in such a bad mood that you don't realize that they're telling you they have a collection of books, and yet you could basically provide them value by helping them look through their books and find which ones are profitable and give them money and help clear out their house for the books. If you don't recognize that interaction as like an opportunistic, moment, it's, you're literally blind to it. And so I think there is a lot to be said about, what you said, what Esther, whatever word it was, like putting it out in the universe. I think that's very true. Ether, my bad. I'm thinking of Esther. What's her name?
There again.
Abraham Hicks
from the Munsters or whatever. What it was.
Abraham Hicks. She's the woo woo lady, but she's got some good shit on YouTube.
Yeah, I think keeping your mindset strong, just never quitting. Mindset's really probably 90% of this game, I'd say. And then networking's the other 10%. And maybe 9%, and then the hustle is the 1%, because the hustle is really not that hard. The learning isn't that hard. It's just the doing. And opening yourself up to the possibilities, meeting new people. In fact, one place I've partnered with and sourced from, the security guard head asked me what I was doing with that scanner. Come to find out, she's sitting on 3 storage units of books and DVDs and just needed me to be there at that certain time to introduce her to you, to Rake and Profit. She went through and in a week's time had watched 100 videos from you and Raken, got her Amazon business started, got her EIN, got her Rolo. Like, she was set. And she just texted me last night that, she's starting the list and things like that. So, this Amazon business is really fun. I like it for especially networking. I like Uber for the same reason, is networking. In fact, she was the biggest proponent of me doing Uber. So I would stop telling her all my dad jokes and tell other people, and meet new people and things like that.
Dude, make an Instagram page and just make dad jokes on it. Like, I swear that shit would pop.
Oh, God. Oh, no.
I would just, I seriously, I don't say this to everyone. Like, you can go watch all my podcasts. I'm not like preaching this to every single person, but I think you would crush it with a personal brand. I think you should do it. And I wouldn't even be attached to the results starting out. I would just make it a goal to post once a day and do that for a year and see what happens.
It's actually funny you say that. When we first started this business, YouTube and social media was one of the sources of money we were looking to get into. we definitely have the ideas. It's just the action we need to put behind it. And that's definitely something we want to do. And I think with your vote of confidence, for me, it's definitely pushing me towards that. I definitely have some content ideas I want to get into, both in written form and video and photography, that I think that could be helpful for the community. One of the biggest things about this community that I really like is that everybody likes to help everybody.
Yeah, 100%.
And
100%.
and like you said, a lot of people are behind the scenes. They're afraid of the camera. And actually, another thing that Miles does that I appreciate, and I've got to see a lot of people do it, is the 30-second videos on Twitter. They just get on for 30 days, and say something. And some people have gotten really big in a very short time doing that. And so that's been one kind of goal.
I suck at Twitter. So tell me what the 30-second thing is, because I love video, but that's why I don't like Twitter, because it's just tweets. So what's the 30-second video thing?
So basically it's the equivalent of YouTube Shorts, really. Okay. And I think on X or Twitter, you can actually do longer. In fact, I think there's movies on Twitter now. They've expanded that 30-second piece, but the minimum is 30 seconds of just talking about yourself, talking about your day, talking about what you're doing. And so that's an area that I've been looking to get into. This is kind of our debut in the visual form on social media, on YouTube. I just did a thread on Twitter yesterday that got huge results. So we're inching our way into the social medias.
There was Alex Hormozy. He's an entrepreneur that I watch like a ton of his content, but he was saying one time there was a study done where two different groups were making a pot, and the task was to make the best, or one group was told make the best pot possible, like a pottery, with colors on it, the shape, all that. So one group was tasked with make the best pot possible, and they were given 2 weeks to do it. The other group was just told make as many pots as possible. And so each group was told a different outcome. One was make the best, and one was make the best, and the other was make as many as possible. Come the end of the 2 weeks, the group that was tasked to make the best pot had a pot that was kind of like mediocre looking, because they put all their focus on it and it came out mediocre. Whereas the other group, when they started making all the pots, as many pots as possible, the first pot sucked. But towards the end, they were making, on average, pots that were way, way better than the group tasked with making the best pot possible. And what I got out of this, and what I think we can all get out of it, is like sometimes quantity over quality is really important when starting something out, because you suck so much at the thing that you want to do that you just need to do more of it. And I think that's how content is. And you got to warm these algorithms up. But on a more realistic level, you just got to get fucking better, And that's why, like, my goal is to shoot 300 of these podcasts over the next year and get better at it. Yeah, YouTube's going to like me for posting every single day. But if we're being really real about it, I'm not going to suck as much as I used to. Like, I'm just going to get better. And so, and I think that goes for the Amazon business too. It's like, stop trying to make one thing perfect and instead just try to do more of the thing you're trying to get better at, and you'll just make better things as time goes on,
I just listened to your point. I just listened to a podcast with Jordan Peterson, and he was mentioning Joe Rogan and how his empire has grown really just through repetition. And he's gotten better at interviewing and asking questions that are outside of the typical box of where are you from, just because of the repetition of not only trying to learn more, but you get better at the questions, you get more information, kind of the smaller amount of output gains more input. So you get more information. And the interviewer of Hot Ones. I don't know, the chicken wing YouTube channel. I don't know if they still do it, but the interviewer there too, he is exceptional because he asks out of the box questions, not your typical questions of these famous people that most people don't know about the famous people.
Mhm.
So,
Right.
like you said, if perfection is your minimum bar, you're going to get caught up in the perfection versus just doing the repetition to get to perfection.
100%. Perfection is the lowest standard. Well, thanks so much for coming on, y'all. Carter, do you want to say anything? Do you want to talk about your role in the business at all before we get out of here?
Sure. Pretty much right now I'm just investing. He does all the legwork. But I do like learning the ins and outs of it because this has always been a dream of ours and we've made it come true. So, but I do like my role right now. I get to see the business grow.
Your goal right now is just to tell him to
But
stop
uh,
money, right?
as a whole, huh? Oh, no, I don't. Whatever product, I really do trust Drew with whatever product it is because he has a keen eye for um, good products. Sometimes it is like okay, do you really want to do this? But a lot of the times, he while I'm at work, I always get this. We sold this, we sold that. So um,
Yeah.
I definitely trust his mind with that, and it doesn't bother me at all. Um, and it is really fun when we do go out and we get to see the different products. I get to see um, like what's really out there, what's not, what's good, what's not, that sort of thing. So it's been a fun experience so far. He does sometimes get down on days we don't sell, which I am his voice of reason on everything. But concerning the business, I have to let him know that this is a startup, and that's what a lot of these like he said myths that I want to kill uh, doing YouTube. I want to kill a lot of these myths by saying, like, no, every day is not going to be a sale. Every day is not going to be, you get to see $1,000 in a day. It may for some people, but for our experience, we haven't. But a lot of the days we do sell. It's just some days that he just, but it happens. It's a startup. But we've seen a lot of profit in
It's almost kind
the
of
little time
silly
that we've
to
done.
get down on yourself when you don't sell anything for the day. Because let me see if I can break this down. It's like if you break your business down into actionable components. So like if we look at items sold, so items sold is a result of items listed. So assuming that you're listing good inventory, you're going to sell more inventory. So items sold is a result of items listed. And usually the items listed are, a few weeks in the past or even months in the past. So like this is something actionable you can do every week to make sure that more of this happens. But judging yourself based on this, especially with FBA inventory, this is such a delayed response that it's a result of your actions weeks before. So getting down on yourself for the day for items sold is kind of silly because that was a result of your effort weeks ago or lack of effort weeks ago. And I think for booksellers and really all Amazon sellers starting out, even before items listed, because starting out, you might not even know what to list. You might be listing crappy inventory. The best metric to track might be items scanned or items looked at. So if you're a bookseller, how many items did you actually scan? And so if you're going to get down on yourself, you can get down on yourself, that's fine, but get down on yourself for the lack of effort you put in today, which is, oh shit, I didn't scan any inventory today. So therefore in 2 or 3 weeks, I'm not going to sell shit. And so if you're going to be mad at yourself for the lack of effort that you put in your business that day, which is you could either do one of these two: items listed, how many items did I list today, or take a step back, how many items did I scan, and make a scan goal. I'm going to scan 2,000 books a day, or 1,000 books a day, or 10,000, whatever it is. And that's going to be your goal. That's going to lead to more items listed. As you mature and you make sure your average sales price is good, you make sure your items sold each month, your percent sell through is good. As long as those two things are good, then keep listing shit, because whatever you're doing is working, and then more items will be sold. And when you check your seller app, you should never get down on yourself, because this is only a result of your effort, weeks or months before. That's my opinion on it.
Yep, fully agree. Yeah, it's definitely you got to be able to control things you can control.
Yeah, and
so
I
if that's
think
listing items, you can't guarantee that somebody's going to come across it. Yeah, it's motivating.
Yeah, I think it's good, because it's got to be correctly correlated. Like if you put a ton of good effort in, like you scanned 10,000 books in one day, you listed 200 books, and you sold nothing, and then you get mad at yourself for selling nothing, you're teaching yourself the wrong lesson, because you put all the effort in required to grow your business, and then you're punishing yourself based on your efforts 3 weeks ago for that day. So you're telling yourself that the things you did that day were not good. But instead, you should subjectively reward yourself for doing the things required to grow your business. And then even if you sell 0 that day, you should still be happy that you did the things required that's going to help you 3 weeks down the road. And so making that correlation in your brain. I did not always make that correlation in my brain starting out as an entrepreneur, but now I do. And now when I feel bad about myself and my efforts, it's usually directly correlated to, oh, you didn't do shit today. That's why you feel like shit. And so go do the shit that you should be doing.
Right.
Yeah. Well, all right, guys. Thanks so much for coming on. Where can they find you guys?
We'll definitely be. We have some. Sure. So, I'm Drew at Diamond Lane Deals on Twitter as well, and then on Facebook, Drew Shady. I primarily am using Facebook for the groups, and socialize more on Twitter, if anywhere.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Sweet. Well, we'll put all your socials below. My team will link those. And thanks so much for coming on, guys.
Thank you. It's been an honor.